Blaine Wright has won 2 Emerald Downs training titles, is the only local conditioner to win 3 stakes on 1 card, twice, and won the race every Northwest horseman aspires to, the Longacres Mile.
Another twist of fate is right there at his throat, and they square off in the final furlong. 5-star General center of the course in third, but another twist of fate is pulling away from the field. Another twist of fate is back in winning fashion.
There are more superlative highlights. Wright was a recent nominee to the Washington Thoroughbred Hall of Fame. And from 2015 through 2023, he's almost doubled the stakes victory output of his fellow trainers. In 2019, however, there was a racing trip for the entire Wright family that will never be forgotten. Another twist of fate took them to the Preakness Stakes in Baltimore. Especially significant because noted Washington horseman and family patriarch Richard Wright would pass away the next year. Going back a few decades, Blaine soaked it all in. The son of Richard and respected horsewoman Susan Wright.
Grew up on the backside, learned to groom on the pony at Longacres. Of course, we all mucked stalls and played video games and ran races down the backside. There was 8 of us or so, and we were hellions. And he had to go to the stewards more than one time on me and Mark and Abel Pulver and Ricky Christian, and it's pretty neat to see how all of us are still kind of involved in the business to some point.
Sister Judy fondly remembers a childhood spent at the track.
I'm literally going to say we were raised in a barn, and I love that story because it's very personal, that we didn't necessarily go to daycare. My parents really watched us and had us involved. I actually think we probably all rode before we walked because we were sitting right there in the saddle with our parents on the pony horses. And so it's just been a part of our lives from the very beginning.
Richard was an outstanding Northwest jockey and named Judy after one of his top mounts and favorite horses, Judy B. That great filly beat the boys in Longacres' 1968 Spokane Handicap. Richard turned to training and, early on, had a noteworthy victory when Flying Judgment scored a dead heat triumph in the 1982 Longacres Derby.
And down the lane they come with Castleria on the lead. Castleria, Flying Judgment moving up on the outside. Castleria, Flying Judgment, Gala Array in the Bell of Rainier. Castleria and Flying Judgment is moving on the outside.
The co-winner was Castleria, a participant in that year's Kentucky Derby. Several years later, Richard remembered the time when his son returned to the track from his first outside job.
He come to the track and took right over and rubbed horses and walked hots and just done everything. And one morning, I don't know, exercise rider didn't show up or something, and Blaine started getting on horses and started jogging them. When he come back to the track and come to my barn, he just kind of took over on that to be an assistant in that. But and done a good job and got a good head on him. And one thing about it, he handled clients a lot better than I did.
The record speaks. Blaine learned the right things from his father.
I didn't know then, but I look back on it now, and the respect that his peers gave him, that, it sure means a lot to me now, looking back on the way the horsemen looked at him when he was serving on the HBBA board, and he had a powerhouse stable in the 80s and 90s.
Mother Susan was more than just another hand getting the work done.
She was a huge influence on detail she ran the barn. She was the person that, the leg detail, and she never gets no credit for putting the foundation into the barn, and she should be one that, she's certainly helped me achieve where I'm at.
Many Northwest owners had success from their involvement with Wright's team. Ernie Sherman, John and Dallas Becker, John and Janine Mariansky, Jerry and Gail Schneider, Todd and Sean Hansen, Dave Mowat, Jared Chappell, Luigi DiPietro, And in 2019, Peter Redekop of British Columbia, he owned Another Twist of Fate. When that horse first arrived in the barn, Blaine Wright's eyes opened wide.
You know, you look at him, you're just like, there's the one, you know. And I'd had some good horses to that point, but I'd never had a horse like him. And I told Dad at that point, I said, Pop, I got a Triple Crown horse. You're not going to believe me. He's like, come on, son, really? And I said, I'm telling you, you've trained a lot of good horses. We've never, ever had a horse like this in our barn.
The year began with impressive victories at Golden Gate.
Another Twist of Fate swings for home, opens up 4 lengths, a 5-length lead for Another Twist of Fate, a 7-length lead as he comes to the 16th pole, and look at this, he is the real deal. Another Twist of Fate. They didn't know if he had the class, but he certainly did. Another Twist of Fate in a romp here in the El Camino Real Derby.
I flew down and watched the race live, and we really believed that the horse would win, but we didn't think that he would win like he did. And Baffert had a horse in the race. He ran second, but I mean, he just devastated them horses that day.
Another Twist of Fate was officially on the Kentucky Derby Trail and had earned automatic entry to the second jewel in the Triple Crown, the Preakness. The whole family made the trip to Baltimore. Dad and Mom, sisters Sherry and Judy, and Blaine with fiancée Rissa and daughter Ava. Blaine would be the rare Northwest trainer to start a horse in a Triple Crown race. Judy Wright informed I Am Horse Racing that the family story was certainly worth telling.
I reached out to them and asked them to do a feature on my family. I hadn't yet seen a feature with a family in horse racing, and I thought we had a powerful story to tell the horse racing community. Another
Twist of Fate didn't win that Preakness, but in his next start, 16 months later, Wright had him ready as the only Longacres Mile winner in history to have not had a start leading up in the calendar year. In the fall of 2019 at Golden Gate, Wright saddled Anneau d'Or to an 8-length career debut victory. The decision was made among owner Peter Redekop's team and Wright that entry into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile would be the horse's next start.
Anneau d'Or at 25-1 has swept up on the outside and has now grabbed the lead with a furlong to go. Storm the Court tries to battle on. Farther out, it's Wrecking Crew. It's going to be an upset here. Dennis's Moment is still last as they come to the final 16th. Storm the Court battles on inside of Anneau d'Or. These two long shots will decide the juvenile, and it is Storm the Court who won it. Anneau d'Or was second.
Anneau d'Or, just a head short in the Breeders' Cup. Another spectacular event for Blaine Wright and the entire family. As that memorable 2019 season came to an end, Richard gave his son a confident reminder.
What more can you ask for?
A win in one of them big races, that's what I want.
We'll win. Don't worry about that.
Judy summed up the lessons learned.
I mean, this is the part where I get super proud and emotional. I think that my father grounded us in you are to have integrity, honesty, you are to have a respect in yourself, you are to show up looking dressed and professional. He was really good at the clients and the client facing. He's got a great personality and really enjoys talking and doing that type of the business. And so he really taught Blaine some grounded skills as far as how you treat people.
We've missed Richard Wright's talks in the winner's circle at Emerald Downs, but his family continues to make many visits there, always remembering him.